Okay, we're going to get started. Looks like everybody's joined. Thanks again for joining. If you've been on the last couple user groups, thank you for coming back again. It seems like we're having a good turnout. So, I mean, we're going to keep doing these for a while, and as long as everyone's happy and excited about joining these, so we'll keep doing them. Just a couple housekeeping things before we get going. We're on a Zoom meeting, so you'll notice when you logged in, there's a couple little tools you can use. If you have any questions, there's a Q&A option that you can click on. You just punch your questions in there. I'll get to the questions at the end of the session. Usually sessions last about 20 minutes or so, 20, 25 minutes. And then I'll answer any questions you have. If I can't get to all the questions, that's happened before where we ran out of time. I'll certainly answer those questions through the blog post afterwards. So let's talk a little bit about today's agenda. Um, so we are today's about remote work. Obviously, everyone's kind of doing the work from home thing right now. So we're just going to talk a little bit about how Monday.com helps with that and some of the boards that have been released and made available to people on Monday.com as well. And I'll show you where you can kind of find some of that information as well. So without further ado, let's jump over to our web browser and take a look at Monday.com boards. So I think, in the last month and a half, it's been a real big shift into this whole remote work scenario. For us at Eligeo, I mean, half our team is remote. We have a team in Calgary, Alberta, Canada as well. They primarily work out of our head office there, but we do have people, myself, I'm in Vancouver. We also have people in the States as well as overseas. So we already collaborate that way. So for us, a lot of this was pretty well easy transition, but I'll tell you, Monday.com came out with a lot of features quite quickly to help really accelerate the use of remote work tools inside of Monday.com. But also on top of that, it's not even just what they've come out with. A lot of the boards in Monday.com, I mean, they're already set up and make it easy for people to get in and start using some collaboration tools out of the get-go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through some of the boards that are available. I'm also going to talk about some of the features that you'll start finding inside of Monday.com as well that I think are kind of helpful for people too. First up is the work status presence you might have heard of. If you click on your name or your profile icon on the bottom left, there's this new thing called availability. So this is a status symbol that you can actually indicate on your profile. And this actually appears throughout Monday.com too. So I say I'm working from home, like many are. If you're out of the office, working outside, you're with family, maybe it's focus time, it's and each of these actually does a couple things here. It says like notifications and inbox messages will be silenced. So a lot of these actually have some different features that'll help you as far as notifying people and whatnot. And if we take a look at some of the boards too, if we actually have assignments, let's see if I have one I can throw an assignment on here. We'll grab this one. We'll add my name on there. You'll notice there's a little house icon on there. So if you have a really big board, you could see the icon indicating what status that person's in. And if I were to toggle all this, you'll see it'll automatically change that over depending what I'm doing. Let's just go, I'll just clear the status out for now so you can actually take it out as well. So it's pretty flexible as far as giving people a heads up, what's Derek up to and whatnot. Other cool things too, and I won't do it from here because we're on a webinar, but you can actually start a Zoom call right from in Monday.com. And there's new features coming where right now where you've logged in through the Zoom app, the Zoom calls will actually be embedded inside of Monday.com. So that's coming. That was just announced the other day. That's going to be a great feature, I think, for a lot of people that are collaborating right inside of Monday. And a lot of people are doing that now where they're driving. You can notice from previous webinars in the last few weeks that I've been doing, incorporating like CRM directly inside of your Monday.com boards is a concept, especially for small businesses, works really good. Not so good for more complex workflows, but there's a lot of new features coming where it is kind of blurring the divide between Monday.com and some of the CRM products out there too. So something to certainly consider that you can do with. But having meetings and things directly bolted inside of here is really helpful too. So there's kind of two things that have really stood out for me so far, but let's also talk a little bit about, the boards themselves. So what I've done is I've loaded in a work from home folder here, and I've created a series of boards here. Or actually didn't create them myself. I can't take credit for those. These are a lot of them that have been made available through Monday.com's own homepage. And I'll just point out a few of those things. If you go to Monday.com and we pull that up, you'll notice there's a remote work section at the top here. If you click on remote work, you can actually find a lot of these board examples right down here. Click here to get started, remote work templates. So you can actually click on these and it'll load it into your account automatically. Then you can get started right away with any of these boards that I'm going to show you today. So if you take a look at the first one, like an intake form, this is a good example of, say, someone in a clinic or whatnot. This is a very easy way for someone at a front desk to recording intakes of people coming in. What's the status that they're in? Did they call in? Was it a phone call? Did they actually come in? Which office were they located in? The date of the submission? Do they have flu-like symptoms? So you can kind of use this to kind of do a type of intake form. And then from there, you can be moving things around as you're moving people through the process and whatnot too. And then once everyone's kind of cleared out, you can kind of clear them down. So I thought that was kind of neat for smaller clinics and whatnot that need to use something like this. It's obviously a very helpful tool. Other things from the work from home scenarios where people are actually working from home. This is an example of one-on-one review meetings. So new hires, existing employees. So using this to actually capture an evaluation of the employee, like where are they at today? Are they exceeding expectation? Have they been reviewed? Has there been a review? What's their tenure? So you can kind of use that just as a way to actually start focusing your one-on-one review meetings, but do it in more of a collaborative way. So I could even go on here and say follow-ups for John. And from there, I could actually incorporate a checklist. John will make sure to be on time in the morning, or John will make sure to do X, Y, Z, et cetera, et cetera. So this could be a nice little way you could use that to incorporate follow-ups for staff and whatnot too. So you can easily add that in there. If you've never used checklists before, once you add that into the update on the item, the pulse, it'll obviously show up as a note here. You can also go up here and just pin this note to the top, so it's always at the top, so you never lose that. But you can also see there's an indicator here, the little checklist. There's 0 to 2 checks. So this could be used where I could even go and let's say we want to create a new group here. Maybe this is action items or follow-ups, whatever you want to call it. And then maybe we'll just take this and drag it down to the bottom. And then we'll say once we do our review with John, maybe it's just a simple thing. We put follow-ups down there just so we can take a look at this to make sure that John follows up on the things he's committed to. So it's kind of a neat way for a review type of thing. Other little things here, I'll just kind of walk through here. Tracking form for those that need to track, when people are in the office. Maybe setting up groups by different days, so Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday type of thing. Where they're going to be working from. I do know some people are still going into the office, not necessarily, at least in the business services realm. Maybe they're not actually going in with everybody to the office, but maybe there's one person going in. So you can kind of identify who gets to go into the office that week or that day, whatever you want to do. You can kind of use it there and how many hours they might be there as well. A work from home work plan. So what's the goal from working from home? Who's responsible for a KPI, for instance? So this is just another board that you could set up goals for your teams as they're working through different things and different schedules at home. An actual schedule. So you could use Monday.com as a scheduling system too. For a lot of people, and I've had this question asked before, it's like, well, how do I handle it week by week? That could get a little daunting. Which, I mean, it could, but I mean, you could also use this as you could create a folder called schedule, and then you could do it week by week. So we could go and actually rename this one and say, instead of workforce schedule, that we might say this is schedule for week 50, I don't know what week is, 33 or 32 or something like that. And say end of the week is May 1st, up to May 1st. Or whatever it might be. Then what you could do is actually go and copy this board or rather duplicate it every week and refresh all the settings and update a schedule, or have a whole series of the schedules all predetermined for the whole year. And from there, we can go in here and let's say we even wanted to add a person in here, and actually identify them on here too. So there's kind of some neat ways you could do this. This could be a personal schedule you could use it for. So if you want to break up your time throughout the day, that's another interesting way of doing it too. So you could share a schedule with people. There's a couple different ways of doing that. Documents and resources. I'm going to show a couple examples on this because there's lots of ways you can kind of do this. We do this. So as a Monday.com partner, we actually have access to a knowledge base, which is built inside of Monday.com, of course. So I can go in there and it's like you have your different categories like security information, how to use DocuSign, mutual NDAs, and just different things that you can kind of get information on. And because Monday.com offers the ability to upload files, you can display any kind of files in here too. So it's a great way of saying, let's say we have, policies around, remote work. We could go on there, we could upload a file, or we could just use this. Maybe we might even use an info box, say, workspace requirements. So we could pop in here and state basically that, you need to have a clean desk, need to have a nice collared shirt on, et cetera, whatever you want. You can kind of fill it out however you want to do it. So, so that's kind of another way you could kind of use this as a knowledge base, and being able to identify, who's owning that particular article and things like that too. So there's a few different things you can do with that. While we're on that topic, I'm just going to bump this up. We're going to talk about a knowledge library too. This is another example of using a knowledge base, right? So I could go in here and, what is Monday.com, a glossary. This is obviously a template, but you could go in there and fill this out in very much the same kind of fashion. You can even provide links to different articles. If there's different vendors you deal with, you could set it up so you have a different description along with different links. There's lots of things you can kind of do to kind of structure data in a nice little easy way. Moving along here, let's take a look at some other templates we have here. Project communication plans. So, it's just the other thing too, and that we're finding that too, because a lot of our staff, like I said, that worked in our office in Calgary, they're finding it's, they're not used to that. So I always find that some people really love remote work and some don't. And the ones that don't, you need to find a way, especially at this time, to make sure you can keep engaging them. So what kind of weekly events do you want to have? And this could be a good brainstorming exercise where you start adding in different items, different pulses in here to capture some different things that are going on during the week. Maybe there's a monthly thing you want to do, or specific events that, on a more summer basis or annual basis, kind of using this as another way of kind of engaging people. But the idea is by using folders and using these different boards, you can structure out a nice setup of basically an internal operating system for your business. It doesn't necessarily have to be the way I have it set up here, but you could set it up where, we have the CRM functions that we have here. We have lots of other boards going on in here too, but because we do a lot of demos and things like that. So you could structure it however you really wanted to, but you could have knowledge base as a folder. You could have another one as client information as another one. So in client information, maybe you have different boards specific to how you're managing the data for clients too. This is a neat one I like, creative requests. So if you've never used forms in Monday.com, which isn't a topic I'll cover today, but you can create a form which will automatically get filled out and specify that into like incoming requests. So you could have incoming requests from clients coming in here. What's the status? Well, it's incoming, it's in review, it's approved. And from there, it can kind of move throughout the structure. This is kind of a neat way to manage workflow. So as requests are coming in, you're collaborating on a request board from either clients or from other service providers and kind of moving them through here. Projects overview tracking. This is a more visual one with statuses. We have a lot of clients who do this in manufacturing where they find it's really good to have, like if there's a particular product being built, they're going to have different statuses along here where they can kind of go and update and change different statuses as they go along. And of course you have the timeline feature, so I can edit the timeline. I can view that in the timeline to see where that is on the entire timeline chart. So the idea behind here is managing all of the actual work being performed within the organization and capturing it right on a very visual board in this case versus just information. So it's kind of a nice way to do that, to say, yeah, we're done this, we're done this. And you can see the progress indicator over there is changing. Full concept's done, or approved in this case rather, and then it's approved, and there you go. It's kind of done. That's kind of a neat way to manage data. So interesting concepts there. Resource center. This is just more of a basic example, but again, just sending a link. You could have like a board you might want to have is a list of links that people might want to have, or even resources. Especially right now, one conversation that keeps coming up is the thing about isolation and being able to provide resources to your teams. So coming up with even resources from an HR perspective, different links to whether it's healthcare plans that you have available for your staff, or whether it's different contacts, phone numbers, or even online articles to help people cope with some of the stuff with isolation, self-isolation that's going on, is probably not a bad idea too. Remote equipment check. This is more on the IT side of things. So when we have people moving remote, it's like, well, how can we easily track what we've have out there? I know for us and our Calgary folks, the day of the middle of March there, March 13th was the day everyone got sent home. They basically just grabbed their monitors, laptops, and all that stuff. And we had to go after the fact to kind of do an inventory on, okay, what stuff actually left the office. So we've been tracking that ourselves now too, but this is a great way of identifying, in this case, Amanda Johns has a laptop, or maybe they've requested one, waiting. It's a great way for resource management as far from an IT perspective to kind of can't stay on top of who has what. You could even expand this a little bit more. So where I might go in here and actually use this to track serial numbers. So if I go in here and add a note, let's say we have a laptop. So I'll say a laptop serial number. And then you might want to have what the model is and all that stuff. You can store it in there. That's another easy way of tracking information in there too. So, yeah, so that's kind of this board. A good way to kind of manage equipment and information. Team members remote requests. Again, another IT related type of thing. As requests are coming in from people in different locations, you can kind of use this to capture different requests coming in too. So what's the topic? What's the issue? So if you're using that form concept from Monday.com, you can have them specify, well, what can I help you with? And they might say, I need VPN network, I need supplies request, IT support, maybe I need a laptop, maybe I'm missing a power adapter, whatever it might be. They can kind of use the triage and assign stuff out. So then from there, I could use that to say, well, who's the requester and who solved it, or who is actually actioned to solve the problem. You can kind of use it on there. And then they can also work on statuses to say, once it's been changed over and whatnot too. Last one I'll touch on is on the team time log. Just the timesheet entries. So Monday.com has a time tracking column, as you can see right here. So you can actually add different time sessions into the system, and all that information can be logged and exported into Excel. This is a great way if you do have people that are on an hourly basis. You can use this as a way for them to actually enter in the time information back into Monday.com so that they can actually go through and make changes on here. So yeah, so that's really all it for the work from home boards that I want to cover off. It's just kind of showing the examples and the different ways we can kind of use these boards to basically collaborate more, especially in this time. There's a lot of tools out there, and the nice thing that we like about Monday.com is that it kind of brings everything into one platform. So we've been using it heavily ourselves. We do a lot of our business planning activities inside of Monday.com for ourselves, as well as sales activities and whatnot too. And especially with features like the indicating what statuses you're in, as well as being able to Zoom integrations coming. And if you haven't done, I'm just going to touch on this a little bit. There's tons of integrations that available. So if you guys are a Slack, if you're using Slack, if you're and you need to be able to send messages into Slack, you can do that right in here. And a good example, I was showing this to a friend of mine yesterday. Certain things happen on the boards. You can notify people onto a channel. But the really cool thing is you can create a pulse directly from monday.com or sorry, from us rather, from Slack by entering a command on there, and it'll post it directly into monday.com. So, and then you can kick off workflow again, assign it to people. It's a really great way. So even taking a look at the integrations that are available here, I think is really powerful to kind of help get some more out of what you're doing inside of your organization as you do remote work. So that kind of takes me to the end of what I wanted to cover off. We have a few minutes left. Like I said, there's a Q&A option there. So if you do have some questions, right now's the time to go ahead and enter them. And it doesn't have to be about remote work. It can be anything about monday.com. I'll try my best to answer the question. If I can't answer it, I'll certainly get you an answer afterwards on the blog. So let's take a look here. Okay. Can you explain where to get? So this is from Julie. She's just asking, where can we get the remote work boards that I just showed? Yeah, so I'll just go through it again. So you just need to go to monday.com. And then at the very top, it's literally right at the top. You can click on remote work, and that will take you into the remote work page. And if you just scroll down, you'll find a lot of other webinar stuff in there too. But you'll find down here all these quick boards you can click on. So all you would need to do is, let's do a quarantine status. So you click on that, and what it'll do is actually just add it to your board automatically, just like that at the bottom. So you can see there's all the ones we were just looking at, and it's added at the bottom there. I believe also if you scroll up, I think I saw here 10 templates to get your team ready. I think if you click on that, there's also some more examples that I just showed you here. And that's just on their blog. So monday.com/blog. Like I said, if you go to the remote work link though, you'll find it, and then you can find all of the different templates here. And again, you can just click on that and it will automatically add it into your monday.com board without having to mess around too much. Okay, that's the only question we have today. So wow, an easy crowd today. So that's okay. And if that's it, then we'll end a few minutes early. And as usual, the recording will be made available on our website, on our blog, and we'll also send it out in the newsletter on Monday. And feel free to reach out if you have any questions. And otherwise, we hope to see you again next week. Have a great rest of your day.